Hello there, wrestling fans! Welcome to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I'm your host, Joe the Panther the Third. And man, tonight, Ringside crew, we have a treat for you. This young lady another awesome Canadian wrestler to the Wall of Fame. Introduce yourself.
I'm Zonda Lee. I am a Canadian professional wrestler. I have around 2 years experience in the business from Ontario, and yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. So, who trained you?
So I was trained in NRGY Pro Wrestling Academy by Dan Jarrus. He has about 25 years experience in the business.
Oh wow. So what was like his one of his words of wisdom to you that you've put in your wrestling style now?
I mean, he says a lot of things, but one of them was make your shots count. If you're gonna take the energy to throw something, make sure you connect with it.
Okay. So what would you consider your wrestling style to be?
I would say it's strong style. Um, like yeah, I throw in some technical in there, but it's mainly just pulverizing the person. That's basically it.
That's one of my favorite things about like certain wrestling, like strong style and like submission. Because my grandfather, God rest his soul, he was a submission wrestler back in the 70s and the 80s, like the 50s and 60s. Like he was a submission guy. So
Mhm.
like those are the guys. So is there any pro wrestler that you've been watching on the indie scene or you saw on Instagram that you really want to wrestle and you haven't had a chance to wrestle them yet?
I mean, for me, I've already got to wrestle a lot of big names. Like I've wrestled Jody Threat, and that was a huge match for me. I wouldn't say there's anyone out there right now who I'm like chomping at the bit to wrestle. Um, I mean, like, there's tons of great women out there, but right now, I wouldn't say there's like a match that I need to have.
Hmm. So, like, let's go back. When you were about to go into your very first match, right before you went through the curtain, what was your energy like? What were you going through your mind?
Well, back then, I was extremely nervous to go out there because it's your first match. You don't know what to expect. So I was very nervous to step out of the curtain, but then as soon as I did, it was all the nervousness just went away, and I felt like I belonged there, and it was the easiest thing in the world for me.
Awesome. So, do you remember who you wrestled in your first match?
Yeah, so I actually wrestled another girl who had been in the wrestling school with me. Her name was Sydney Ryder, and yeah, she was my first match.
Mm. So, like, do you when you go to your shows, like at the end of the show, the end of the night, what is like your favorite go-to junk food or like food you have to have when you're done with wrestling that night?
Junk food that would probably have to be ice cream. Honestly, it's
Mm. What kind of ice cream?
chocolate.
Ooh.
That's the only one
Sprinkles
I'll
or
pick.
no?
Sorry,
Sprinkles or no sprinkles?
no sprinkles. That it's supposed to be smooth, not crunchy. So,
I understand. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So the week of a wrestling show, what is your normal schedule like for you?
um, it's mainly just training to prepare for that, and then going to the gym and getting my body in as best shape as I can. Yeah, it's basically just a normal week. Like I don't change really anything going into a match. It's just training constantly. That's it.
Do you ever watch like videos of like your opponent that you're about to fight, wrestle, and like to see where you could take from what they've done in the past and stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I definitely research the person if I've never heard of them, and will watch as much as I can just to know how to counteract what they do, for sure.
So, what is your favorite wrestling style to wrestle besides like submission?
Honestly, it would have to be striking. I love getting into that part of the match where we're just trading blows back and forth. That's the most exciting thing for me.
Mm. So, is there any other place in the country or the world that you would like to scrap up and wrestle that you haven't been to yet?
Oh, definitely. Like there's tons of places out there that I'd like to go. I'd love to go to Japan at some point. Also the UK. That would be really cool for me. And then Mexico would be a top place to go because they do things so differently there. But definitely number one would be Japan for sure.
Awesome. Is there any wrestler from the past that you've you watched as a kid that you would want to have one more match with that are not no longer in the business?
Oh, um, wow, there's a lot out there. Mainly I would watch men. Um, so if I could step into the ring with someone, uh, Triple H, he was he's amazing for sure.
Mm. He's a great wrestler, and if like you ever had a chance to meet him, I hear he's very good, and he'll give you good advice, and he seems like he looks like he would have like a lot to say. Like he seemed like he'd sit with you and like he'll watch a video with you and be like, no, don't do that, do this. You know what I mean? Like he'll approach the match differently and stuff like that. Like he looks like he'd be like the big brother to like the younger wrestlers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely breaking it down for sure.
So do you collect anything?
No, I'm not really into collecting, no.
Mm.
I think it just causes a clutter, so it's not my
Yeah.
thing.
I'm a pops guy. I have like 3 pops I'm looking at right now that I when I do my shows, I always stare at my pops. Are you watching anything on Netflix or Hulu or Disney Plus?
No, not really. I don't really use that stuff. I more just watch wrestling and that's about it.
That's cool. Is there any old matches that you like you can't stop watching and you watch again and again and again from the past?
Um, there is this one that I love. It's Rowdy Piper versus the Ultimate Warrior. I love that one.
Ooh. I just interviewed Roddy Piper's daughter and
Okay.
her yes, Deimos and T. That's a person that if you ever can get in the ring with, she is awesome. Teal Piper. Oh my gosh! Shout out to Teal. Teal and Damos, two of the coolest people. Like definitely, you have to look her up on Instagram. Teal Piper. What a good person. If you speak to her, tell her Joe Panther sent you because she's so cool. Such a nice person. So good, and her on your mic skills are great. But you have to see how she does it because she has like her dad's like emotions when she does the promos and oh my gosh. If there was a young male or female that wanted to get in the business to either wrestle or announce or commentate, what kind of advice would you give them?
Definitely listen to people who have done it before you. Like you don't have to listen to exactly every single thing they say because you're gonna have your own way of doing things. But take what you can from the veterans, like take bits and pieces and what'll work best for you. So definitely listen to people.
Okay. Before we go, do you have any shows that you would like to talk about tonight?
There's this big one that I'm doing, Jacques Rougeau's Wrestling Academy. Um, that's a big match that's coming up for me, August 20th. Um, I'm in a triple threat in that one, and this is a really big opportunity for me.
Awesome. Tell Jacques we say hi. I've had plenty of other people that are in that academy. I've had Jefferson James. He's been on the podcast. I've had some other people from the academy, and it's so awesome to see what uh, Jacques is doing for the younger independent wrestlers. I think it's beautiful actually, because Jock is, to me, I'm an old school wrestling fan, so Jock is something else. He's a good wrestler. Even though he's been besides my grandfather, he's the other heel that I would always go, woohoo, it's the Mountie. Like, yeah. So I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's so awesome. Thank you, and best of luck to you in the tournament, in your match, your triple threat match. It's dudes at Ringside Magic. You're gonna win the match. The match is
But,
yours. I would love to have you come back on in a future episode. I'm Joe Panther the Third,
and I'm Zonda Lee.
and we will catch you in the next one. Good night, everybody.